Hi guys, welcome to day 6 of the Christmas special series. So today we're going to do a Q&A with some of your questions that you've been answering on the channel. Guys, just want to say thanks again. It's been such a journey this has over the last 7 weeks on this channel, kind of educating and dumping my knowledge out onto the channel. So, I want to say thanks. Keep subscribing. If you haven't already subscribe and hit that bell notification, and let's get started.
Okay, so the first question is, Chris wants to know, what's the best way to raise capital?
Okay, so the best way to raise, essentially there's 2 ways to raise capital. You either get secured capital, meaning you own some assets and you can go and get loans against the asset and you're effectively securing the finance. Actually, you can get unsecured against assets. That's not quite true. But essentially, you've got an asset that you're going to raise capital against. Okay? If you haven't got an asset, then you can't raise capital against it. The only other way then is you're going to have to go and ask friends or family. You're going to basically have to get somebody to give you an unsecured loan. Okay, you're going to have to get somebody to invest with you, maybe get a joint venture partner. So you could go and offer somebody, if you find a deal, you could offer somebody 50% of the deal if they put the funding in. You could go to friends and family and say, look, you're just getting started in property and you're going to buy this, you're going to make X amount. Do they want a slice of the action? But essentially, there's only 2 ways. You either have assets that you can raise finance against, or you don't have assets. Yeah, and if you don't, the only way you're going to do it is you need to speak to friends, family. You could speak to strangers, but if they don't know you, the chances are slim. So friends and family is your first port of call, and as long as they believe and trust in you and know that you know what you're doing, then they will lend.
Okay, the second question is from Jason, and he wants to know how recessions affect property.
Okay, so how do recessions affect property? Well, so typically property will drop in a recession, or it will stagnate at least. Okay, so if we look historically at previous recessions, property has either dropped or kind of stagnated. So now that can be a good thing, because it means that in a recession people can't sell because the market is a lot quieter. So it means that you can go out there and provide a service to these people that can't sell. So what we do is we will go and seek out the motivated buyers, the people that are under a time pressure. So you've got people that, there might have been a death in the family, they need to sell. They might be in debt, they need to sell. Or they might have had a divorce. People still get divorced in recessions and they can't afford to wait for the property to sell. So it affects it in, there's good and bad, and there's also, opportunities. I always say that there's never really a bad time to buy property, because there's always a deal to be had. The profit, and remember another thing I say, the profit is in the buying. Okay, so as long as you've got the numbers locked in, as long as you've got enough margin in case the market falls further, you won't go far wrong.
Okay, so the next question is from Darren, and he wants to know what your advice is on buying land.
If you're new, my advice is don't. So buying land is, in itself, it's a straightforward transaction. However, if you haven't done your research, you haven't looked at if there's any restrictive covenants, you haven't looked at the deeds, you haven't looked at the local plan, then you can be opening up a can of worms. And if you're not experienced, then my advice would be to stay clear of it. If you are, kind of a bit more of an experienced property investor, then unfortunately this is a whole video just on land and can't really be answered in a Q&A. But if you're new, if you're just starting out, you're new to the channel, then my advice would be don't buy land. Normally, if land is for sale, you're the last person to see it. So if you go on Rightmove and there's land for sale, it's normally because it's not a particularly good deal. Okay, all the good land gets sold without you knowing about it. but that's again another video.
Another question comes from Laura, and she wants to know, how do you start again in property?
The way I started again was I just got a job and I saved up as much money as I could, and I used some creative financing. I did a deal with the vendor to effectively get the property with very little money. Okay, and I did that 2 or 3 times. That released lump sums of cash, and then I used the conveyor belt method, which I teach, and I just basically bought, value, sold, bought, added value, sold. So I built up the pot, and then I started buying, as I did originally before bankruptcy, started buying houses that I would keep and let out. But essentially, the fundamentals of starting again is don't give up. So start, that's exactly what you need to do. So go for it, okay? Try and raise as much money as you can. In my case, the only way I could raise money was I had to go and get a job temporarily, unfortunately. So I had to go and get a job. So try and raise money, friends and family. I couldn't in my case, so I had to get a job. And then I was still short, so I used some creative methods. They're going to take far too long to explain on here. But if you're one of my mentoring students, you've heard all about the creative methods. So yeah, that's all I can say. Is basically just, the main thing is don't stop, go for it. Just keep, as I say, keep attacking, keep going forward, keep charging, and get a second job, get a third job, get whatever you need to get that initial cash to buy that first flip. Because once you've flipped the first one and you've done 25k, you're kind of off going again, and then just don't stop.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So really short, and my phone always goes off when I'm doing videos. But guys, really short one today. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And that's it. We'll see you tomorrow for day 7, and it's New Year's Eve tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.